Here's another one for you. Contrast role model in the the personification of servanthood. How does that? How do you approach that?
Well, my 7-year-old Nico, he's getting into sports now, and I tell him God's more interested in a servant than he is a superstar. And what that means is when Coach asks you to go pick up the balls and buckets, you hustle over. You're the first one there. When you're warming up, you just don't warm up to warm up. You warm up to get better. And God is more interested in you being a good teammate than he is you being the headlines of the paper. And that's one thing that I want to teach my kids and the kids in the facility. Be a good teammate. Don't worry about getting your name on the front page. Be a servant. Don't be a superstar.
Yeah.
Being a good teammate goes right along with building character. Are there anything specifically that you can point to in baseball, since that's your primary focus, that helps build character maybe better than other sports or unique compared to other sports?
Well, of course, I'm biased with baseball, right? You know,
right.
It's one of those things where it's a game of failure over and over and over again. I mean, and the reality is, if you fail 7 out of 10 times in baseball, you're in the Hall of Fame someday.
Right.
And if you play golf and miss 7 out of 10 swings, you're not ever making the PGA. You know, Shaquille O'Neal in basketball makes more than 7 out of 10 free throw shots.
Well,
right?
I guess my slice means I'm not going to be on the PGA Tour next year.
Right? You know, so I think it's a game that teaches you a great amount of failure, and if you can learn to overcome that, you're going to be pretty successful in life. I mean, you look at that glass half full and find a way to get it done. That's kind of my mentality versus just hope to get it done.
What lessons has baseball taught you?
Never give up. Find a way to get it done. Sometimes you don't feel good. When you play 162 games a year, or you're playing, you know, and you're playing 9 months, you get 1 day off a month, you're not going to feel good that often. And that's one thing that you got to find a way. Even if you don't feel good, God will still do good work through you if you're committed to Him. You don't have to feel great to be able to do that.
You know, as you were talking, you kind of elaborated a little bit on this earlier, but take us a little bit again as you talk about yourself, a discussion with other players about being role models. Maybe what you've experienced in your past as a professional athlete, as opposed to what you have right now to train your young men. I mean, what are some young ladies? What are some things that? How do you make that transition in that discussion with them relevant?
Well, you know, you start with little things. Like we tell our young men and even professional athletes, open up the door for women. Open up the door for when you're walking in a place. Open up the door, be nice. You know, we tell our younger ones, clean your room without your mom and dad asking you to do that. You know, making sure you're doing things for other, to do simple examples. In today's world, in all reality, it's unfortunate and a pretty dark place at times. Doing little things like that, from not swearing to open up the door for women, to doing things the right way, is a great example in itself. You know, and so I think taking little steps leads to bigger discussions, bigger opportunities, and ultimately to lead people to the Lord.
So what if someone says, well, Jose, I hear you, that's all great and dandy, but that's just chivalry, that's just, you know, those are just things that should be part of life, you know. I mean, do you see something profound, more profound than just chivalry in what you just said?
Absolutely. I mean, because who's doing that? I mean, you go out in the world today and start looking. Who's doing that now? Who's opened up the door for? Who's opened doors to their wife every time they open up the car door for them? Or is that just the norm now not to do that? You know what I mean? So I think you just got to open up your eyes a little bit and see some things out there. And I think you see a big difference for someone who is truly trying to make a difference and have purpose in life versus someone who's just trying to get through life.
What I hear you also saying, Jose, and correct me or elaborate more on it if I'm correct, is don't be defined by what you do not do. Be defined by what you choose to do.
Amen to that one. That's perfect.
You know, he just called me out too, Rich, because I took my daughter on a daddy-daughter date last week.
Uh-oh, personal story.
Yeah, I got to confess, it's good for the soul. So anyway, but it was my time, because I remember as I got out the car, you know, it was just her and Daddy, we were going out to do some fun stuff, and I remember that, when's the last time you opened the door for your daughter? And so I had a teacher.
Wow.
I had a teacher right then. I said, honey, don't open the door, sit there. Daddy's coming. I had to walk her because she's sitting in the back seat safely as a 6-year-old. And I'll walk around the car and say, okay, stay there. And she said, what are you doing? And I had to explain to her that Daddy needs to do this for you regularly, for you and Mommy especially. So yeah, thanks for bringing that forefront and making me confess that one, Jose.
You know, one thing I want to just add to that, you know, it's so true. You know, we just had our 4th kid and 4 kids under 7, and one of the things that my mom, we went to our a little vacation for Thanksgiving, and she said, I'm really proud of you for vacuuming and cleaning dishes and stuff. And I told my mom, I said, you know what, I want my daughters to see that a man isn't Mr. Macho Man run around the house, never cleans dishes, never vacuums. I want my daughter to see, when they get older, when they start dating, to see what a man is supposed to do. I want my sons to be able to see that they're supposed to open up the door, they're supposed to do these things. You know, and that's part of what I think a little bit of difference is. It's like, that's part of what I'm trying to do, is serve my wife, is be able to vacuum as she's got the young baby and our other kids and different things like that. That's a big help to her. And I think it's important for young people to see that, and for even professional athletes like we're talking about to be able to do that, you know.